Have you ever wondered what it's like to be your own boss? Do you want to be free to do what you want, when you want? Or is that even a reality? Let's get into the details and discuss.
Welcome to the Money Nest, your source to not becoming a financial liability. You will learn how to become fiscally responsible, save money, and grow that nest egg of yours. The Money Nest is proudly sponsored by A1 Bookkeeping Services, serving small to medium-sized businesses with bookkeeping and providing tax services to people just like you. You can find out more info about them at a-1bookkeeping.com. Now, here are your hosts, Suzanne and Mark McKinney.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Mark, and I'm so excited to welcome you here to this episode of The Money Nest. We have in the studio today my co-hosts, Suzanne and Tammy. Say hi, girls.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm Suzanne.
And I'm Tammy. So nice to be here today.
If you're an employee of a company and you've had dreams of opening your own business someday, this might be the right place to get more details. If anything, maybe we can help to shed some light on the topic and help get you through some of those details that maybe you just haven't considered. Even if you aren't interested in becoming self-employed, maybe it will give you some extra insight as to what owning your own business is like, so that you can better understand those that do have their own business and maybe some of the struggles that they encounter on a daily basis. Before we get into this episode, we want to take a moment to remind you to please like, share, and subscribe to this episode of The Money Nest. This allows us to have the widest distribution possible. Helping to share the content of this podcast gives us encouragement to upload more episodes. Your help in getting the word out is definitely appreciated. Once again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to The Money Nest.
Oh, the freedom, the flexibility, the coming and going as you please, the ability to make more money than you currently do. The list goes on and on. Yes, there are several benefits, but where there are positives, there are negatives, and not all positives are good things. You can misunderstand, and when reality sets in and things hit the fan, you will find out maybe you didn't do your homework.
The same could be said about the negatives. Maybe you're purposely ignoring the ugly side of your planning. What is glaring you in the face is actually something that you should have paid more attention to. And those issues could have stopped you dead in your tracks, realizing that there are downsides to starting your own business that maybe you should have thought through carefully.
Let's talk about some of the benefits of opening your own business. Some will be more obvious than others. There is flexibility, a feeling of accomplishment. You set your own schedule. You keep all the money that comes into the business. You can be more successful, less payroll taxes. You become more appreciated by others. Your work life and personal life balance would be better. Your long-term goals will be more achievable. And job security is greater. There are a lot more points to consider for sure, but if you thought these are all great reasons to quit your job soon and start a business, you are nowhere near close to being ready to start your own business. You are headed in the wrong direction and will fail quickly.
These sound so great. How can it be the opposite of what I'm thinking? Literally, anyone can start their own business. You don't need to be a special person. You don't need to be smart, educated, driven, or have lots of money. Anyone on this planet can start their own business. But it doesn't mean that you're going to be successful, happy, and become all those things that Tammy mentioned earlier. With the signing of a few simple forms and a couple of bucks, you've got yourself a business, and now you're the CEO of whatever you want to call yourself industries. Sounds fancy, doesn't it? It should. You're now the boss. But of what? Do you hear that silence? That's the sound of no sales, no business activity, just a name. The real effort is explained here.
Sure, you may have a great title and maybe some business cards printed up to make yourself feel important. In fact, there are a lot of CEOs of huge corporations who have failed with fancy degrees and a lot of great ideas. But there are a whole host of reasons why they failed, which includes personal drive, missing key opportunities, not listening to the public, and not following market trends.
Okay, let me give you an example. Surely you've heard of a little thing called a tablet. You know, the device that everyone has that is an over-glorified phone, but not quite a desktop computer. They are everywhere, wouldn't you agree? But did you know that before today's tablets became big and made very popular because of Apple, they existed many years before they rolled out into our hands? In fact, they may not have even hit the shelves and went mainstream. Certainly, they were not in stores for very long. Why did they fail? They missed the boat on something. They were not practical. Nobody found a use for them. It was the wrong idea. It was not near as slimline as they are today. They were too heavy like a laptop and too early for the evolving technology. Their market research was terrible, and they fell in love with a thought, not reality.
They were indeed ugly and only useful for an exceedingly small market. Can you imagine carrying around something the size of a laptop just to take notes, read books, or whatever else you were supposed to be doing with that thing? But once they listened to what people wanted, they saw how technology was changing. The internet had to speed up, touch screens became a thing, and smartphones were released. Well, then the tablet became the obvious companion. If it wasn't for the invention of the smartphone, we may still not have a tablet, as the smartphone was the leader of the pack. That's what people really wanted. They wanted that tablet, and it became a companion product, not a leader.
Enough about the tablet. The point here is, do you have the skills to open your own business, to push a product or service that people want or need? Is there competition for what you want to do? Is there really any money in your area of interest? Or are you falling in love with a thought and ignoring the signs of reality? Don't become the first generation of the tablet. If you're bold enough, have the cash flow to support a groundbreaking idea, and truly believe the world can't revolve without it, then go for it. Start a business. But until that time, you may want to pump the brakes a little.
Remember all those positive thoughts I talked about earlier that sounded great to opening your own business? Here are some personal factors to consider when it comes to opening and running that business. It takes a lot of time. It takes money. It takes personal drive. It takes smarts. And it takes communication skills. Remember, in a business, the buck stops with you. You are the one who has to deal with suppliers, customer issues, employee problems, landlord issues, cash flow, advertising, tech support, and more. The answer isn't as simple as, well, I'll hire staff to do it all for me. Until you become much larger, you are that staff. If the business fails, it's probably because of you. What did you do wrong? Not enough advertising? Were you in the wrong location? Was it a bad product or service? Did you miss opportunities? Maybe you didn't stay ahead of the game compared to competitors or customer wants. Was there too much competition in your area? Really, why do businesses fail? They fail for those reasons I just mentioned and so many more. No business is too big or too small to fail.
When you run your own business, it requires you to invest a lot. You don't make money unless you spend money. Very few people open a business and make a lot of money really fast. And if they do, how long will they ride that gravy train for? Usually it's not too long. Now earlier, Tammy had mentioned things about like flexibility, setting up your own schedule, and making more money. The truth is, most new businesses fail in only a few short years. And when you do fail, you're now in a worse situation than you were before.
We're in the accounting space. We have seen businesses come and go, and others stick around. This means that because we do accounting as our day-to-day job, this gives us a special place in the business world where we get to have a unique view of a lot of different types of businesses and the people that run them. With that said, starting your own business doesn't have to be all doom and gloom. It can be fun and exhilarating, but we also must face reality. We don't live in a fantasy world. In the business world, it can be very challenging and get ugly very fast without warning. We would rather see you achieve your goals as opposed to jumping into something without knowing what's ahead of you. Look at all the factors first. Consider them closely. Do your research, then make a decision as to what your next move is.
What type of business are you interested in? Is it a product type business where you order goods from a supplier and resell them? Maybe such as a restaurant or a clothing store. Is it a service business where you don't really carry much inventory, but you provide services to people for other companies such as repairs or even mowing lawns? Or maybe it's a gig type company where you perform service-based scheduled events such as a graphic designer or freelance consulting. All are profitable in their own way and all carry their own unique risks. What you have to consider is what are the risks you are able to accept? How much time do you have to infuse into the business, and are you able to react accordingly when things don't go quite as planned?
You've got to feel comfortable about your decisions. Now, just because you've got a couple of bucks to invest doesn't mean you're in good shape. It takes a lot more than money to get a business off the ground. Now, certainly, if you feel like you're going to have more time on your hands and you're going to have more flexibility to come and go, you couldn't be more wrong. Running a business takes time, concentration, and a set of skills that only entrepreneurs have. Now, entrepreneurs aren't born with this stuff. You've got to hone your own skill set to make it work.
Now let's look at some of the points to consider when opening your own business. Of course, there are things that we've already addressed, such as time, money, and personal drive. But what about things like loans, for example? Can you qualify for a loan? Is your credit good enough? Will the bank loan you money for your idea? Getting a loan for a business can be incredibly challenging. Nobody wants to invest into a business that has no track record. Your loan may have to be secured, which means you may have to put up your kid's birthday as collateral.
That's a good one.
Just kidding, of course, but collateral is very real. Money sustainability. If your business fails, will it bankrupt your family or livelihood? Are you going to have to file for personal bankruptcy if all things go wrong? Will you lose your house? Or will you have to dip in your kid's education fund to support your failed business?
Let's hope not. Those kids are going to hopefully support you later on in life.
Time management. Can you balance your work life and home life without mixing the two? A lot of people say they can, but it is very demanding running your own business. Do you have your family support in making the business succeed? Location. If you need a storefront, have you found the perfect location? Having the wrong location can quickly kill a business. If one area is ideal and you're only across the street or one block further down, this makes a huge difference in people's habits of shopping and travel. Parking is another huge factor to consider. Suppliers. Where are you going to source your inventory? Is the quality good enough or great? Are they reliable? Are the products being made overseas? What if your supplier goes under? Will you follow suit? Accounting. Are you able to stay on top of your bookkeeping, tax preparation, payroll requirements, and government filing obligations? Or do you have to outsource this? Are you getting the right financial advice from the right sources? And I don't mean friends and family. Often, the absolute worst place to get advice. Employees. There's a lot more to having employees than you think. They need to be trained. You need to keep your personal and professional life at a distance. If a problem comes up with your staff, are you able to resolve the issue? It's more difficult than you think. Having employees is often known as the hardest single aspect in running your business. It's sad to say, but very real. Your product or service that you offer. Does anyone even want or need what you have to offer? Is there too much competition in your area? What sets you apart from all others? We could literally sit here all day mentioning factors to consider, but this podcast is only so long and is not intended to be a one-stop shop for all things business related.
Now, you believe you've got what it takes to be an entrepreneur? What now, you may ask? There is a lot more. Is your business going to be set up as a sole proprietorship, partnership, corporation, or formed in a different manner altogether? Most businesses are sole proprietorships or corporations. How you form your business is especially important and must be done from the absolute beginning, once you know you want to get going into your new adventure. To get the best advice, you should talk to a bookkeeper or an accountant and possibly a lawyer to make sure it's set up even correctly. Just be careful how your business is structured. Don't let someone who has something to sell you talk you into making a move that you don't want. You must know all the ins and outs so you can make the best decision possible. If you don't like the advice you are getting, you know what? There's always someone else you can ask. If you didn't like one lawyer, that doesn't mean you can't shop around. Don't be in such a hurry.
When you are self-employed, you generally have a passion for what you do, no matter if it's a blue-collar job or a white-collar job. Doesn't matter if you're in the service industry or retail business. Now, it doesn't also matter whether you have 10 employees or no employees. Now, businesses do come in all shapes, sizes, and from all parts of the world. In fact, that small businesses are the backbone of our society, well, I'm sure that you've heard that that is true. We all have one thing in common: taxes. Yep, I said it. Don't hold it against me. Someone had to say it. Taxes also come in all shapes and sizes as well. You've got sales taxes, income taxes, import taxes, and payroll taxes. And I'm sure there's more besides that. No matter if you don't like the nasty sound of that word, they've got to be paid in full and on time. Once you fall behind in your tax obligations, it's a real tough rut to get yourself out of. Now, that is another huge factor to consider when you become self-employed.
You may think that once you set up your business, eventually it'll run itself. If this is the case, you are mistaken. No matter how many years you've been in business, no matter how many employees you have doing the work, or how much you have in sales, the business never runs itself. There are complications that keep impacting the way you conduct your business routines that just keep playing havoc, and you need to adapt accordingly and often quickly. Don't think for a second that you got it all under control and you can predict what's happening in your business. Reality will wake you up. There may be some things that you can adjust to as you move along and can change your ways as needed. But what about the COVID-19 global pandemic in early 2020? A lot of businesses had to make major changes very rapidly to keep up. There was no way of getting ahead of the problem for anyone. Just keeping up with the challenge for all of us was hard enough. Many businesses had to close for weeks or months, and a lot never reopened. Of course, this is an extreme situation, but no matter where in the world you are, we all face the same problems, having to adapt. You know what? This could happen again. Adaptation and responding accordingly is key.
Whether you choose being employed by someone else or starting your own business, it's a huge move. Everyone will think, including your family, that you don't really have a job. It's more of a hobby. You have lots of time on your hands now. You are poor because you are self-employed, but at the same time, you have lots of money. Go figure. You will get feedback from friends, family, and customers on both ends of the scale. It will take many years for you to come close to getting the respect that you deserve in being self-employed. Most of us know what it's like to be an employee. Few of us truly know what it's like to be self-employed. The feelings are not even close to the same, and the risks are even more different.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, Tammy. Now, I have a question for you. Are you tired of being employed by someone else? Is this why you feel that being self-employed might be an option for you? Now, you need to dig down deep before you make the wrong move. Or maybe it's because you have an issue with your employer or a coworker, or maybe it's the line of work that you're in. Maybe you just need a change in scenery and a new job to make you feel better. We just don't want you to make such a critical step that it's going to be the wrong move for you if you aren't careful. We want you to have a full comprehension of what it really takes to start your own business.
It is possible to be employed at a job and still be self-employed on the side to make some extra money in the evenings or weekends. But our question is it really a business or more of a hobby? And are you doing the proper government reporting? Be careful not to get yourself in trouble by investing into the underground economy. This doesn't help anyone in the long run and could easily run into problems.
Let's take a moment to talk about what you will lose if you leave your job and become self-employed. You could be walking away from things such as stable payroll tax contributions, such as a pension, employment insurance, and income tax, the company pension program, union backing, medical benefits, and even knowing where your next paycheck is coming from. If you become self-employed, you may lose some or all of these benefits because the responsibility of these items are now on you. It's up to you to ensure your life goes on with the stability that you once had and have given up to open your own business.
It's possible that being self-employed will be the best move you've ever made. You may enjoy it, love it. You might be a natural-born leader, and you might go really far with being self-employed. Now, if you're this type of person and you've done all of your research and you're ready to go, good luck. We hope you really do succeed. We said earlier that small businesses are the backbone of society, and in fact, they are the backbone of the world. We need more small businesses to avoid monopolization from the places that we shop and how we get our services. More jobs are created by small business than by any big business. When a small business fails or closes, it does hurt the community a little. When a big business fails, it hurts much larger geographical area, and sometimes it hurts the world.
Now let's hear from you. Do you have a story that you'd like to share with our listeners about starting your own business, or another aspect to consider before you get into a new venture? We would love to hear from you.
Now, this episode of The Money Nest has been brought to you by A1 Bookkeeping Services, where they specialize in small business bookkeeping, personal and business tax returns, all at affordable rates. Do you need a bookkeeper or a tax preparer? Give A1 Bookkeeping Services a call. You'll be glad that you did. Check them out on Facebook or at a-1bookkeeping.com.
Well, ladies, another episode in the books.
I agree. We'll need to start working on our next episode real soon. We're going to open up the lines of communication between us and all of you, and we're going to take back control of our money. We're going to get our money to work for us, and we're not going to be having to work so hard for our money. Take care of yourselves, and thanks for listening.
This is your podcast. We want to hear from you. What financial questions do you have? Are you starting a business and don't know where to turn? Are you having issues with your income tax refunds and you don't know how to fix the problem? Or maybe you have other questions or suggestions for upcoming episodes. We want to hear from you. We'd love to hear your thoughts. We compile a list of comments and suggestions, and we blend those into every episode when appropriate based on the topic. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this episode of the Money Nest podcast.
This is Suzanne,
Mark,
And Tammy.
from The Money Nest. Thanks again for listening. Bye for now.
You've been listening to The Money Nest with your hosts, Suzanne and Mark McKinney, brought to you by A1 Bookkeeping Services. We're your source to help you become financially successful while assisting you in building for your future. For more information, visit us at themoneynest.com or send an email to info@themoneynest.com. Don't forget to subscribe so you can be notified when our next episode is released.